Hey Pisces, I hope that you're all doing well. This reading is going to cover your next 3 days. What I was seeing when I was splitting the deck was 6 of Pentacles and 5 of Swords. When we have that going on, there can be something here that you're involved within, and you can feel like either it's not working or you are feeling almost like protective of the way that you are bringing your energy into something. Meaning, let's say that you have a relationship or an exchange of some sort that's going on, okay? Having 5 of Swords there can be like, I feel like if I don't really pay attention here, I may be over giving, or I may be taken advantage of, or I feel like I'm giving this, but then that person isn't giving it back equally. And it's not even so you guys are giving each other the same thing. This can be more so like, and it doesn't even have to be a person, you know, this can be with a job or something where it's like, I feel like I'm doing all of this work and I'm not being compensated correctly. It can be something like that where you're feeling a type of way about it, and there's no issue. When we are feeling a type of way about something, it means that we have a problem with it and we need to problem solve when we have that going on there. And it looks like it's something that you're actively involved in, whatever this is. So you're actively exchanging energy within whatever this is. And so you paying attention to the way that you feel and not being like, ew, why do I feel like this? I think it's going to be helpful to tune in and be like, oh, I'm not feeling good about this, or I'm feeling frustrated, or I'm feeling mad, or I'm feeling, I don't know, upset, or I'm feeling salty for some reason. That is going to help you if you pay attention to it rather than lashing out. There may be something actually productive that you can be doing here, that then you're going to feel good about the way that you're taking care of it, but there may possibly be a confrontation that is needed where you have to address something, and you'd want to, right? Because we don't like being in the energy of the 5 of Swords where we feel disgruntled, but that we're feeling that way because something isn't balanced and something isn't fair, and so something has to be done about it. But we're gonna have to initiate addressing it if we want it to be worked out, which then we don't have to feel that way anymore. The first card that we have is King of Wands. King of Wands is about taking action. So this can be something that really does call you to take action here, and I'm seeing Hermit on the bottom of the deck, so maybe this is something that you need to think about and really reflect on, like, how do I really want to be showing up here? And this can be like, what's the most effective way of me taking action here in this circumstance? Because when you have King of Wands coming out like this, you are the one in the driver's seat. You have the power here, and so there's a need to recognize that. Like, you get to determine the sense of direction here with this. Yeah, I'm seeing that the way that your energy is coming across right now, like, you do believe that there is a right order to things, and you are willing to, like, uphold and maintain your, just how you need to be showing up in a way that feels right to you. I'm hearing the word lesson. I feel like there's some type of extension or growth that is happening here. Like, maybe expanding a little bit beyond what's familiar to you. Some of you may not be doing this anymore, having that 10 of Swords here. I feel like in every reading that I've been doing, the Hierophant has been popping out. I need more insight. So we have King of Wands, we have a Hierophant, we have 10 of Swords, we have Page of Cups. I feel like you could have been trying to do something, like trying to do the right thing, or trying to, yeah, it feels more like that, but then like something happened that didn't feel good. Can you tell me more about this, please? It's like, I tried to show up and do my job, or I tried to honor this, and I really felt like I was going the right way, and then it's just like something happened here with all of this. You could have even taken a chance on something. like tried something out maybe, but then I feel like things going differently. Can you say more about this? I feel like this is going to push you into having to expand your horizons a bit here. Can you tell me more? Yeah, I feel again, you may have tried to do something and even gone into it being really optimistic, but then something else happened. And you can just be at this point reflecting on your feelings about that. Maybe something was like a bit extreme even. I'm seeing the Fool and I'm seeing the Devil here. I feel like I've never seen this combination in a tarot reading. And the Moon. The Devil is something that pushes us into extremes. So having the Fool and the Devil, I wonder if there was like something that you went into where there was like a total lack of experience, or you may have tried something but felt kind of like naive in doing so, or you may have been like open to something but then it was like couldn't control the energy. I feel like something like this. And maybe this is even something that you felt like blocked your like inner compass in some way. I just feel even like maybe a bit of a, maybe you felt like this was kind of like humbling even. The Fool and the Devil feels like maybe pushing it a little bit too far, you know, like it's like you never swam in the ocean before. You maybe never swam in water before. And instead of like going in with a floaty, you just went all the way in, and then it's like you realize you actually, once you're in the water, you don't know how to swim, and then you're like, it just feels like something like that, like something here happened. Because I feel like there was a, like maybe not knowing your limits, maybe not even having enough experience to know what your limits are, and then going into something and not having those limits there. And then, I mean, in a way, I feel like you learn something important here, because we do have the High Priestess. So maybe this can tell you something important about yourself. Maybe this is showing you something that you didn't see before. This is an energy that you can like make something productive of it. But the actual experience, I see like this big thing of emotions where it's like there could have been excitement going into it. And then when you get into the water, this feeling of like, I don't know how to swim. And then it's like, you feel like you start drowning, but like magically you end up getting like pulled out of the water, but it's like you like barely make it. It feels like something like that to me. But then I see there being this feeling of like, oh, I did learn something from that, but it almost feels like excitement and then panic and then like, oh, like everything's actually okay, but I feel like so exhausted like that. It feels like a close call of some sort to me. And this can even mean like some of you, I wonder if there's like a position that you are losing because of this, or like some part that you're not going to be playing anymore, just like something happening where it's like, all right, well that's over and done with now, and now you're just like reviewing and reflecting on the way that you feel about this. I feel like this did tell you something important though. I will say this as well. Because Devil can be extremes, for some of you it could be that situation. For others of you it could be like very resistant to anything new or anything. Like, so for some of you it can be you have no idea how to swim and like jumping in the ocean completely. For others of you it can be like you may actually be fine in the water, but you're like not even gonna go in at all. So there, it can either be like complete like avoidance, or it can be complete indulgence, and there's like not a middle lane here. And it feels like it's going to be one or the other, depending on how you're channeling the energy. either like way overdoing it or way underdoing it, like way too much movement and like not enough protection and limitation, or like absolute limitation to the point where there's complete stagnation. I feel like this is a reality check of some sort for you, which can, you know, like it's not usually fun when something feels like humbling in some sort of way, but at the same time, I feel like there's, like you gained an experience from this and that is invaluable. So if you had to go through it, it's like at least you learned something from this. So now after all of that, you're kind of like, you wash up on shore and there's stuff that you're feeling, which feels ever present. Maybe all of this was to get more connected too. Maybe before that, it's like you felt like the compass like wasn't turning on before, and maybe you did this and maybe now it's on and you're like, well, at least it's working again. Maybe in a way that it wasn't working before. Like maybe something weird was going on with your connection. Maybe something weird was going on with your intuition. Maybe something weird was going on with your guidance, where it just felt like you couldn't hear anything. And then after this experience, it's like turned on once again. It's like it got new batteries in the machine, which feels like a little bit relieving here. But there can also be a feeling of it turning back on and being like, this is why I was avoiding that. That's why I let the batteries die in my intuition. Because it's coming back on again and you're like, okay, here we are again. Here's that same old feeling again. That's why I was doing all of this, just to avoid that. But now that it's come back on, it's funny. Like, I feel like you're playing a game of cat and mouse with yourself here a bit, where like maybe something was going on, right? Like Pisces is a water sign. Pisces is so fluid and dynamic and boundless, and so there's just like all of this energetic stuff going on all the time. Like, what are you not feeling? What are you not able to pick up on? And then maybe something happened where you didn't like what you were picking up on, and so it got you again, like let the batteries die in the receiver for you to understand and like get insight on what it is that you're picking up on. You let it die. Something happened that I feel like is reflective of that battery being dead there within your relationship with your intuition. Now, after this situation happens, it's like you got fresh batteries put in there, and so everything's very loud again, and then you're like, oh yeah, now I'm remembering why I let the battery die. Because I didn't want to be present to this. I didn't want to be feeling this. You see, it's like that thing happened, and it's like, oh, there it is again. There those feelings are again, can't escape from them, can't get away from it. And then it's like go away, I don't want that. But whatever this is that happened, it brought those feelings back up again. And it's like, oh, they were there the whole time. I had the radio turned all the way down. That's why I wasn't hearing it. It's like the GPS was on the entire time. You just had the volume turned all the way down, and then you like went really off-road there and something happened. And then it's like magically the volume gets turned back on, and it's like startling the way that it's there. And it's like, did you forget about me? And you're like, yeah, I actually kind of did on purpose. And like, I don't want what you're bringing to me. That's that feeling. Like volume being turned back up and trying to like tell you what it's been telling you this whole time, and you being like, no, I don't want, please. Just like covering your ears here so you don't have to hear it. It's like you can't help but be intuitively connected, and I think maybe there could have been a feeling of relief. You know, too, like something that I'm getting, and I feel like I can speak personally to this. I have a Pisces stellium in my birth chart in Western astrology. I have a Pisces placement in Vedic as well. So I feel like no matter how you cut it, I have Pisces in my chart. I think that the thing with Pisces and why the energy can be difficult is because you're always feeling and you can't really turn it off, and you can learn how to manage the energy, but it's like there is always guidance and there's always intuition and there are always feelings about everything, and you're always being guided in a particular direction, and it can feel really challenging because it's like, well, now this is going on and now you have to do this and now you have to do that and now we need to turn around and go over there, and it can feel really tiring because you see the like you experience this feeling of like the command of what it is that you're feeling, like the commanding energy of your intuition, and it feels constantly like I have to follow what it's saying, otherwise I'm not going to be in a place of peace. And so it can feel kind of like you don't have peace only when you're resistant to the energy. If you're like, okay, whatever, like I'll do whatever it wants, and you're following along with your intuition and you're really honoring that, then things are okay. But it's like when you're tired and you just want to like relax and not have to be making a move, and it's like the radio won't turn off and you just hear it again and again, like message, message, message. Because I feel like Pisces receives messages very, very easily. It's very easy to tune into it, and that's why Pisces in its shadow can be known as wanting to escape from everything. Because until we are in this space to be able to hold space for everything that we're receiving, there is a desire to turn that volume down and to run away from it, to not have to deal with it, because it's like always constantly in your ear and always constantly in your heart and always constantly in your mind. You get messages all the time. It's like you look at the microwave and you see a message and that means something to you. You see the butterfly, the first butterfly of the year, and that means something to you. You see like a frog on the road and that means something to you. It's like you're tapped in a way where, and these are real messages that you get. And you see the message in everything. So I think that when it feels like it becomes all too much, it's very easy to just be like and turn it down. And I think that one of the major things for those of us that have Pisces placements, one of the like major lessons that we have here is figuring out how to groove with all of it, how to be fluidly moving with all of it rather than resisting, how to manage all of it, how to love all of it, how to hold all of it, how to care for it. Because it's kind of like around the clock on the job. And there's a beautiful spiritual gift and wisdom within that. Yet, if you are like not in the place where you're ready to accept what this is, it can feel really difficult not to just like run away from it or find ways to turn it down. Because you're constantly feeling. And it's not even constantly feeling your own stuff. It's constantly feeling your own stuff. It's constantly feeling everybody else's stuff too. And it can just feel like you're being inundated constantly. So you have to figure out how to do like energetic spiritual hygiene. It's like you pass somebody by on the street, you don't even make eye contact with them, and you have to go home and like scrub the energy off of you, cleanse from the energy transfer. Just, it's everywhere. You see a picture, you don't even know the backstory, and then you feel like something heavy in your chest. It's just these types of things where constantly you like absorb the energy, which when you're using that in a way where it's like a skill, it's something that can be really amazing, because other people, they have other focuses within their energy. And so that's not something that comes so easily to them. And for you it does, but it can feel like a burden at times. It really can, until we learn how to work with the energy. But when we have those placements, it's for a reason, because for some reason we wanted to come here and work with the energy. So that's why we have that. So yeah, I get something about like being really high and then being really low, and it just being like, well, now I'm back where I started. That's what this feels like. Here we are again. I'm seeing this really light blue color that almost looks like a little bit greenish. kind of like robin's egg blue, but slightly sage green, like slightly mixed with that color. I'm seeing you feel upset about something, but you haven't been wanting to feel it. I think too that there's this feeling of like, I don't want to have to do something about this. And so if you're not totally present to it, then you don't have to take action, but you know, and you can't really run away from that. Yeah, I feel like here, this is your job. You're responsible for this, but you may like not want to be. Because I'm seeing there be this like, I don't want to feel this. I don't want to have to do that. I don't want that to be mine, but you're already very much aware of that. Maybe you even feel disappointed in yourself in the way that you did something. Or just even that you have to do something here and that you have to respond. Because I'm seeing something be like, this is clearly your responsibility, but you may be looking at it and be like, I wish that it wasn't. And it can be hard to feel anything else other than that. It's like that station gets turned back up. That volume on the station gets turned back up. And it's like this on repeat. It's like that sad story. You keep crying every time you think about it. It's like, I feel almost like everything just taking you over, where this Five of Cups, I feel like you're having some very big emotions here. This Five of Cups feels like when you feel like this, it's the only thing that you feel, and like everything else fades into the background, and it's just like this slump that you get into, which doesn't really help this part of you, because this part of you is called to action. But when you're feeling like this, you don't really want to do anything. You just want to be sad. You want to mope around. And so it's like anything other than feeling that. Like, please don't hand that to me. Anything other than having to feel that. And your intuition is like, but I'm trying to tell you something. There's a message within this, but you can be like, just still kind of resistant to hearing it. Can feel like a confusing time for you as well. Just a lot to sort through, a lot to organize. We have Nine of Swords coming out too. So something is not what we thought it would be, and then having to face forward and face the future in a way that's going to be different than we planned for. You can just be like, this is the actual worst. But you can feel too like something is coming up within you and saying, act now, you need to do something about it. And you can be like not wanting to. And why would you not want to do something? This is why. This feels like there's something that you have to put a stop to. There's something you need to close out. And you can be like, every part of your ego is like resistant to this. Like, I don't want to do it. But this part of you, because this is the part of you that like, that demands excellence on your part. Like, this is a part of you that's very non-negotiable, is coming through and saying, you need to do this. I need you to do this for us. And that feeling of knowing the weight of that, because this is something that you cannot deny the request of. It's coming through and saying, your life will not be on track until you do this, and there's an obligation for you to follow through and do this, but to close out this, but to do what needs to be done here, it can be something that you feel absolutely like terrified of having to do that, or like so absolutely resistant, not within your soul, but within your ego. And you can be like, well, if I do that, then what's gonna happen? And there can be a big focus on outcome here, when really all you're asked to concern yourself with is the process and doing what you need to do. because this is your responsibility. But again, I get this feeling of like, I wish that it wasn't. I wish I could tune this out. I wish I could turn this down. I wish I could avoid this. I wish that this didn't have to be my responsibility, but it is. And there's nowhere you can go to outrun this. You can like maybe avoid it a little bit, maybe tune it down a little bit, but as soon as you turn the volume back on, you're going to be here again. So there's like really, you can't get away from it. But I'm seeing something that you would like, your ego would very much prefer not to have to do this. Like pretty much I'd rather do anything else other than having to do this. But that also means too that once you do it, it's going to be over with and you don't have to do, like, you know, then it's done. Just move through it. But I get definitely a big procrastination here with this. And like for good reason, because this brings up a lot of intense stuff emotionally. It's like you really have to talk yourself up to do this, but it needs to be done. I'm telling you, things are going to get so much better. So much better. Having that Six of Swords, it's like as soon as this is done, for those of you that you haven't done this yet, some of you this has just closed out, but for those of you that you haven't done this yet, as soon as this is over, things are going to get better. This card is about things getting better. This card is about things moving forward. This card is about like all the worst is over now, so now we can move forward. The hardest part is over now. So once this is closed out, that really is, the hardest part is over. There's something really key here about responsibility. That's a very key piece of this. It can be like responsibility, it can be righteousness, that can be connected with this too. Piety, honesty. Yeah, I keep getting this feeling of the Hierophant being your conscience, being like, you can escape from me. It's just like, it's something here that feels like you really can't deny it. And you can feel like if you were to not honor this, that there would be an extremely like huge part of your soul that you are just like totally like ripping apart. That you are out of union with. Yeah. Some of you, this can be connected with having to be alone and facing that. This can also be, this is going to put you in some type of challenging circumstance, can be the feeling, or there's something that you want to do that you feel like this is going to make it harder for me to do what I want to be doing here. But I think more than anything, like, I don't know if all of these things are like, I don't know if all of these things are totally factual. I'm seeing more than anything why this would be so challenging for you is because of the ways that you limit yourself and what you're capable of. You may not feel very empowered as the King of Wands. The King of Wands is the part of you that takes action. Having Five of Pentacles can be like you don't believe that you're competent. There can be like a lack of potency that you feel connected with. And so this challenges that part of you that doesn't feel empowered to take action in a way where you're coming out as King of Wands, so you can definitely do this, but you have to work with the part of yourself that doesn't see you as being capable of doing this. And that's why this is so challenging, because there's something in your mind that you have to work with, because I'm not even getting it have to be about the circumstances. It's about how you see your place and your power or lack thereof in the given circumstances. And that being the most challenging thing for you. It's not the circumstances, it's how you're perceiving them. All right, my friends, we are going to leave the reading here. I would like to thank everyone for connecting. Thank you for tuning in. I'm sending everybody love, and I hope to catch you guys next time.